let me bang.
I do let you bang. Hey,
Let me bang the game, man.
I let you bang. I let you bang.
Greetings, nerds and virgins. Go for Jeezy. No for gay Jeezy, people.
And I'm not surprised, motherfucker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time once again for your favorite mixed martial arts podcast. Recording out of Los Angeles, California, it's MMA Roasted with Adam Hunter.
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that?
What's up, people? Welcome to a brother MMA Roasted Podcast. It's me, I'm Adam Hunter. I'm here with my man Ween Dog, who's wearing some kind of camouflage.
It's a face mask.
It's a face mask. That's totally normal.
Yes.
As well as Sean McCorkle in his new house. How are you, Sean?
Yeah.
Your wife.
I'm doing all right. Don't let me forget before the podcast is over to tell you about what? Are you there?
Tell me about what? I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes. We're off to a great start.
I had a little bit of experience with someone breaking in my house.
Yeah, you sent me a video.
I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. You sent me a video last week. I looked at the video, and you're holding a gun aimed at somebody.
Right.
And I was like, that's a real gun. So please tell me what the fuck happened.
Okay, so I've got 20 acres here. I've got about 10-acre front yard and a driveway that goes about 700 feet off the road to my house. Another 600 feet past that, I've got 3 pole barns, right? You guys hear me so far? My internet's sketchy. So I pull back there to get a chainsaw because apparently now I'm a farmer or a tree cutter. And I go back there to get some stuff out of one of my pole barns, and I see a car parked in the one that doesn't have a door on it. It's like a carport kind of entrance to a barn. And I thought, well, that's weird. That's not my car or anyone I know. So I pull in and I block it with my car. I text my son, said, hey, run me out my AR-15 real quick. I think somebody's in my pole barn trying to steal stuff. And I had just been out there the night before, so I know they came during the middle of the night. And I just bought a security gate I'm going to have installed because apparently this is a common thing around here in the country. I don't know. So I say into the barn, hey, if you're in here, you're at the wrong house. I'm going to kill you if you jump out on me, so you better let me know you're here now. Nope, nobody says anything. I walk in, search the barn, don't see anything. Get ready to call the cops. As I'm backing out, I see to my left out of my peripheral a girl that looks like she just climbed out of the well on the movie The Ring.
Oh, God.
I see a girl sitting there growling at me, showing her teeth. She's 2 feet from me, growling at me, bent over halfway sideways, growling, looking methed out, man.
Wow.
So I almost shot her. I immediately almost shot her because it scared me so much when I turned and saw her. So I put a gun on her and I asked her, I was like, why are you here? And she doesn't answer. She just keeps growling. And so then I was like, are you here alone? That's my biggest concern. She's got somebody else with her who's going to shoot me or stab me or something, She won't answer. And so I asked her something else. I asked her how old she was because she won't answer. So I said, the next question I ask you, you don't answer, I'm shooting you. So here you go. You got one more chance. And I was like, are you here? I said, are you here alone? And all of a sudden she's not growling anymore. She says, yes, just looks at me. And I said, nobody's here. She's like, no, just me. I've been sleeping here for weeks. And I'm like, no, you haven't. I was just out here, And I asked her how old she was because I don't want to kill anybody. I certainly don't want to kill a kid. And her face looked really young.
Right.
And I said, how old are you? And she said 34. And for some reason, my son recorded the part you saw. He went live when this is going on. He sees me point a gun at somebody. So he goes live on TikTok. While he's holding a shotgun, he's also live. So I asked her how old she was. She said 34, looking all crazy. And I said, bitch, you look 12. Don't lie to me again. I don't remember saying that, but it's on my son's video. Yeah. So apparently I freaked out. And I started threatening her. And I said, are you here alone? And she kept looking over at this horse stall, just kept staring at it like somebody's about to jump out on me, or whatever. So I said, if anyone's in here, you don't tell me, I'm shooting you. So if I hear any movement, I'm killing you then. And so, because I don't know what she's going to do. She's still bent over sideways the waist, growling, acting crazy. And so my son calls the cops. They get out here. The cop walks in, doesn't even pull out his gun, doesn't do anything, just comes up, says, turn around, handcuffs her, searches her. I asked him if this is, very common. And he said, oh, yeah, it happens all the time out here. Everybody's on meth. So it's there's a lot of fun this week. So
That's horrifying,
Yeah, he said people
dude.
break in all the time. He said, I would lock down everything you've got.
Oh, God. Well, speaking of crazy.
It would have been so scary. If it was a man, it would have been less scary.
Oh, well, speaking of crazy, we have Mayhem calling me in from jail right now. So, can you guys hear this?
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear it.
All right, so this is a special show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna.
$6
Oh, God.
Do you have to pay for a phone call from jail?
Yes.
You're using Global Telly.
Yo, Mayhem.
Oh, God.
You're on the podcast.
I knew I was on the podcast. I was like, this son of a bitch got his radio voice on.
How are you, man?
I'm all right, bro. You know, I'm just keeping it fucking gangster here in Cell Block P. You know, just doing it right.
I miss you, man. Sorry, I didn't pick up a couple times. I was like, didn't see that you called till after you called.
Yeah, you know, no stress, bro. Listen, I know that I'm living on a different time here. This is just like a slow motion version of life. But from what I hear from the news, it's nothing but damn masks and lockdowns in California.
It's crazy.
So it's like I'm not missing much. I know. It's like a damn post-apocalyptic wasteland out there. I'm in the safest spaceship in the planet.
You're the only one who gets arrested for looting during a pandemic.
I know. Yeah, I know. I like they're letting everybody else go. I didn't understand. They just must have called me out because of my whack ass haircut.
Oh my God! I actually miss you, man. You actually sound good, man. You actually sound good.
This call will be recorded and monitored.
Yeah, because they're monitoring and recording all these phone calls. Right? Yeah. So, is everything doing? You know, it's really kind of put a hiccup in my program, but I should be out of this whole shenanigan pretty soon. This is kind of like a bologna sandwich type charge. I'll be out soon. But I have started a training camp here for the prisoners. Everybody is a guy, Coach Mayhem. I made some mitts out of some old chanclas, some sandals, some shower shoes that you can buy off the commissary for $1.25. I've got boxing gloves that I've also made out of those with some old socks tied together. Everybody has been training pretty hard for the last couple weeks. I just made a training camp in here. That's how I'm staying sane.
So you're teaching other prisoners how to fight?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I got one kid who's like pretty solid 170er. I think this guy's got a nice range. Maybe he's going to do something when he gets out of here. It's got some pretty sweet ass gang tattoos. I don't know. That's the problem.
Right.
And best of all, none of us got COVID.
Oh yeah.
So,
And how are you doing? Are you staying fit? Are you working out at all?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you know, you got to stay in shape to keep everybody in line. There's like no way to not do that. You got to be, fit and in shape. It's weird. They transferred me to a different block where I have actual like cellmates and like I have like guys to work out with now. It's not like before where they had me in secure housing where they had me separated from everybody, and now I actually, it's like a kind of a more normal jail life experience. I mean, not that I'm happy about it, just like a upgrade on the rung of hell.
Got it. And then you figured out what, and you learned your lesson. You figured out what you were doing wrong and how you could make things better.
Yeah, obviously, it's like pretty simple. It was a pretty simple thing. I feel like I had it figured out before, but man, I got a wake up call. Got to take a little step to the left and move out of the neighborhood that I was in.
This call will be recorded and monitored.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. I mean, I was like, because you were killing it before COVID, and you're one of a couple friends of mine that like, man, this lockdown was the worst. It was the worst.
It's a nightmare. How the hell are you supposed to do this to like human beings? Like, man, I get it too that everybody is like stressed out. But I guess we just gotta play by the rules that that whoever the hell, I don't know who the hell's in charge, Gavin Newsom. I guess we gotta play by the rules that Gavin Newsom is setting up for us, or hell, this is how you end up.
Well, listen, man. I mean, look. I mean, we have to have a long talk. I don't want to do it on the show. I want to.
I didn't mean to jump straight on the podcast. I didn't realize you were recording it right now, or I would have called it a different. It's perfect that we did it this way.
1,000%. But I truly miss you, man.
I miss you a lot, bro, and I miss all you guys, and God bless you, man. I appreciate you picking up and paying my Global Tel Link account.
Nah, man, you're one of that.
A couple dollars. Put some on there, some on my books, and put some money on my Global Tel Link account so that I can. I might get stuck here for Christmas. Who knows?
Well, listen, you're one of my best friends, so I'll always be there for you, bro. So.
All right, brother. Well, God bless you. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Take care, man.
All right, bro.
All right, that was Mayhem Miller.
So for all the people who have been asking, where's Mayhem on the YouTube comments, now you guys know.
Yeah, now you guys know. We have to have a long talk. I didn't want to do it on the show, but I told his friend that I was going to put him on the podcast. So he actually did, and he said he would love that. So she said he would love that. So. Oh man, but
how weird is it that Mayhem's in prison, but he has more freedom to work out and train with other people than we have outside of prison? That's a little weird.
Well, like I said before, man,
you can't even go to a jiu-jitsu gym, but they can train.
Well, what I said before, when Jason is sober and focused, there is nobody better. There's nobody better on the mic, nobody better charismatic. You just want to be about him. Unfortunately, as good as he is to the one side, when things aren't going as well, the other side swings back on the pendulum. But that's a lot of people, it's just a matter of like focusing that energy towards the positive shit. Now, so McCorkle, were you worried though? I'm a little nervous that you said you were going to shoot that woman. Because you can't just shoot people, you know that. Even on your property, you can't just shoot them.
Well, she was acting crazy and like she dropped down to her knees at one point real fast without telling me she was going to move. And I almost shot her then, but I was glad I had my gun, because if not, I just would have beat her up, like I would have punched her in the face and choked her unconscious, because I'm not getting stabbed or shot, or I've been shot at before in my life and stuff. It's no fun, man. So I didn't know what she had, what she was doing. I know there's no way she thought she was at the right place, so she was methed out. But if she didn't look like the girl from The Ring or Children of the Corn or some shit, it would be different, even, to a degree. But she looked like, dude, like I thought she was a witch that came out of the woods behind my back of my house or whatever. Like she looked crazy. And they said, I kept asking her, are you on anything? Because if she's on meth, it would make more sense and I wouldn't have been as nervous, you know what I mean? But I kept saying, are you on medication? Like, are you schizophrenic? Are you, on stuff? So she said, no, I've done meth before, but I'm not taking it now. Like as she's growling. And I was like, well, that's weird. So the cop gets there, puts her in the car and said, hey, we're going to test your blood and urine. You're going to be a lot more trouble if you lie to me than if you tell me the truth. What am I going to find? And she goes, maybe heroin, meth, and Klonopin, but other than that, nothing. Like that's what they were going to find.
That's good.
And then to top it all off, they wrote her a ticket and let her parents come pick her up and towed her car. No charges, no anything. Like, and the cop was like, you can't. I wouldn't recommend shooting somebody in your pole barn. And I said, I got a burner gun. Don't worry about it. It would have been in her hand before you guys got out here. My burner gun would have been. I said, so it's cool.
Did the cop laugh or no?
No, he didn't think it was funny. He was a little bit serious about it. But I told him, I should have had my burner gun in her hand if she got shot. So don't worry about that.
Oh, God.
I said that would have been fine.
Well, we've had different weekends.
But no, I'm glad I didn't kill her, man. It was like a nightmare, man. It's like a horror movie. Like you turn, also there's like a little girl staring at you in the corner, like just with the craziest face. And when I say bent over, I don't mean bent forward, bent sideways, almost at a more than a 45-degree angle, just looking at me, bent over like crazy. So
I just can't believe
it was some weird shit. But I loved it that my son went live.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, probably a good thing.
What's that?
I just can't believe you have a barn, too.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you have a barn is awesome.
Yeah, that's what's crazy.
So I'm
going to be a farmer, I think, eventually.
I was in San Francisco and I did 5 shows, and it was outside in the back of a bar, but it held 50 people. So every show was sold out. But it was fun. But there was 2 girls that came with a guy that were like talking the whole show. I'm like, you literally can't go anywhere. You come to a comedy show to talk and just being obnoxious, whatever. And the other comics were yelling at them. They didn't care. So then there were these other women there that were lesbians, and they were divorced lesbians, right? Like they were together because they had 4 kids together, and they said that 2 of their kids had special needs. Then I pointed to the 2 girls heckling. I'm like, and here they are. That murdered. And then after the show, they came up to me, right? They were like, hey, listen, we haven't been out of the house in 6 months, and we have 4 kids, 2 of them have special needs. We want to thank you so much for doing this. Like I got thanked more for doing comedy than I have in for years. People are just so starved for any type of entertainment in real life. So that was awesome. And then Zoe LaFrosto came with Alexis Davis, both who are very hot, by the way. When fighter chicks get done up and they're not in camp, like losing all kinds of they look like it's just amount of thickness. And I didn't realize that Zoila was divorced. So she's all divorced women are my favorite because they have low expectations, and then same with Alexis Davis, who has a kid. Like moms are also great, single moms, because they want you in and out of there. Highly recommend dating both of them. But anyway, so one of your funny stories. So this guy, there's a wrestler, right? By this wrestler who was ranked one of the best wrestlers in the world. I think he's not in the world, in the country. He was undefeated in high school. Roman Bravo Young, right? Undefeated 4 years, 4-time state champion, wrestles for Penn State, 2-time All-American, just won the Pan Ams, all this stuff. And he follows me on Twitter, and and he's he likes my jokes, yada yada. So he hits me up. He's like, "Hey man, I want to get better at trolling. Can you help me out?" Right? So I was like, "Well, who do you want to troll?" Not that I'm the man at trolling, but I'm I could. So he was like, "Well, just in general." So I was like, "Well, why don't you put something like most MMA fighters couldn't pin a tweet? I challenge any MMA fighter to a wrestling match, and the winner goes to the charity to teach Dylan Dennis how to fight." So the guy laughed and he says, "I'm friends with Dylan Dennis." But so he changes the tweet and puts I'll teach Jake Paul how to fight, right? So next thing you know, this thing blows up. Aljamain Sterling writes, "What weight?" Right? So now he goes 150. Now they're wrestling on Rockfin at Penn State on pay-per-view next week because of this. I guess they're doing 6 minutes of wrestling and 3 minutes of jiu-jitsu rules, BJJ. And I'm actually pretty curious because I think this guy, Roman, he's next level in wrestling. I think if it was a straight wrestling match, I'm pretty sure he would win just because that's all he does is wrestle. But he's not as good as Aljamain in BJJ. So they're doing 6 minutes of wrestling, 3 minutes of BJJ. And it's all because he asked me. So that was hilarious because all these people got involved. So I should be a freaking matchmaker. And then, so then I did a show and there was these young kids, they were 19, 20. This black guy from Nigeria in the crowd goes, "Hey man, roast me." And I was like, well, all right. While I'm on stage. Right. And then he goes, "I don't know, talk about me being a slave or something." And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to even partake in this at all because I know I'll say something, but then they won't show you saying roast me, slave. And all of a sudden I'm the racist comment and I'm getting kicked out of life. So I'm like, there's no, but this dude was really, really funny. And after was very complimentary. So that was awesome. And then I had an audition for to be a spokesman for this massage chair. Right. And it was so it was a 5-page audition. So I put myself on tape, blah, 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 sent it in. Then the director hits me up and he goes, I want to see you for something else, right? Another 6 pages that I do. Then he hits me back up. Hey, he wants to talk on the phone, right? And the thing doesn't pay that much. It pays something, but not it's not tens of thousands of dollars or something, right? So then he's like, hey, so he goes, well, could you do it this way? And I was like, listen, man, can you just give me the part? I'm like, I promise I'll fucking kill it when I get there. But my nanny canceled Monday. I drove back 6 hours last night because I had to get back and watch the kid. I got to write a monologue for Dolph Lundgren for the MMA Awards, which is due tomorrow. And I got to watch my kid all day. And I'm tired. Just give me the part. I promise I'll kill it. He goes, all right, well, I'll take that into consideration. So I'm seeing if I get the part. But this is the first time I've ever done something like that. So I'll keep you guys posted. But I've never done the part. We'll see if I'm the new massage chair spokesman.
It's going to be a commercial on Fox News at 2:00 in the morning.
By the way, so I am writing the thing for Dolph Lundgren. Last year was one of the funny. I wrote all these jokes for Dolph Lundgren, and I was teaching him comedy, and he was so nice. But I had to go pick up my wife from the airport during the award show before it started because she had the baby, and I'm driving there. And then I got a text saying, Dolph Lundgren needs you. He wants to go over jokes. He's really nervous or something. And I'm like, never in my life all the times I watch Rocky IV, would I think that Ivan Drago was like texting me, I need you to help me with that was such a fucking surreal moment, because I'm like the biggest Rocky IV fan. So ever. All right, let's talk about the fights last week. You guys watch the fights?
Hell yeah.
What's up, people? Listen, the holidays this year are sure to pack a punch. And so will this weekend's UFC 256. Some of the sport's most respected fighters step into the limelight this weekend. Sure to check out DraftKings, an official partner of the UFC. For this weekend's fight, DraftKings is offering all players a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes. I don't know about you, Ween Dub. I could use $1 million. You?
Oh, yes. Big time.
McCorkle just bought a house. He could use $1 million. I'm looking for a house. And if you haven't tried it yet, Fantasy MMA is so easy to play. Pick 6 fighters, stay underneath the salary cap, and pile up points for advances, takedowns, and more. There's no better way to put your MMA knowledge to the test and to compete for a shot at millions of dollars all week long. And if MMA isn't for you, okay, don't worry. DraftKings is offering plenty of fantasy contests for all the sports that have returned to action. Plus, don't forget about football season. I know Greg loves that, where DraftKings has even more money up for grabs every week of the season. So download the DraftKings app now, okay, and use the promo code ROASTED to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes throughout the weekend. That's promo code ROASTED to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Check them out. DraftKings. I'm telling you, it's the best. All right. First of all, Martin Vettori is.
I did not, but I won some money on a 5-fight parlay.
Really? Oh, you didn't watch it, but you still won?
Yeah, I get a 5-fight parlay for I think a 10-1.
Nice.
Turned out pretty good.
Vettori's gonna be hard to beat, man. The guy just he's got really good striking, he's got good enough wrestling, and I was never really that sold on Hermanson. I think Hermanson's good. I think if Kelvin hadn't got caught in that heel hook, that fight might have went a little different. It was one of those things that went so early. But it was a good fight. Hermanson could take a punch, but Vettori's just, I think he's the guy right now. I think you got to make the rematch him and Israel.
What really surprised me in that fight with Marvin Vettori is in that third round, I was worried for him because he looked like he sort of was gassing out, and it looked like Hermanson was stepping up and bringing the pace. But what really surprised me is his ability just to come back after that round and just win rounds 4 and 5. I was like, dude, this guy is the real deal. I don't know if they're going to make that Adesanya fight right away. They might go to Paulo Costa or Robert Whittaker for Vettori, but I think there's a title shot in the very near future for him.
Well, the first fight was so close, I think it was so close. And you could argue that Vettori won. I kind of thought he did win, to be honest. I mean, it definitely also people that got kind of jumped off the Izzy bandwagon. Izzy's one of those fighters that like every fight people jump on and off the bandwagon. He goes fight by fight. And by the way, cutting Romero, I don't think was a good move by the UFC. I understand why they did it, but I just think that he could beat almost anybody in the division. He's one of those guys that just you cut him and you're like, I get it. He doesn't always show up to fights, but he's so damn good.
Yeah,
he's so damn dangerous. I mean, they're just
you know what he needs to do? He needs to break some laws or get in trouble, get put in prison with Mayhem, and Mayhem can give him a full training camp in there, and he can come back out and fight in Bellator. That's my plan. Because you can't trade anywhere else.
Now the other fight, that this kid Jamal Hill, is that you say Jamal? Jamal Hill. This kid is the truth. I mean, OSP is such a slow starter. I don't understand starting slow in 3-round fights. Yeah. I'm not saying gas yourself out, but has OSP ever won a first round ever in any of his fights?
It's hard to recall.
To stop the guy. I mean, it seems like he just gives away every single first round, and then he's always playing catch up. And you know, he's a weird fighter because he's so good, but then he just either he'll show up or he won't show up.
It's also had like 25 UFC fights. That's a lot of fights to, you know, for a light heavyweight.
It's so funny, man.
OSP does?
Yeah, fight like 25 fights in the UFC.
I also feel like,
I didn't know that.
I just feel like a lot of times awkward fighters, not to be like make this a race thing, but there's a lot of white awkward fighters, you know, like Sam Alvey or that like 90-year-old guy that from Australia. I forget his name.
Dan. Fuck.
That guy.
Whatever his name is.
He's probably the most awkward black fighter out there. OSP. It's probably because he also didn't start fighting till later. A lot of times when you're an athlete first, you're a football player, and you get into fighting. I feel like you don't pick it. It's just weird. It's just different. It's a harder transition. It's an easier transition because you're so athletic, but it's hard to look like a fighter. Even like you look at guys like Greg
Hardy
or Alonzo Menefield or some of these other guys that were like football players that go into fighting. They always look uncomfortable in there. They get the job done, but they don't look as smooth. Am I right, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a whole different world, man. If you saw me hit pads just in the gym, you would think I had awesome hands. Then I get in a fight and I'm swinging like a girl, you know, like two girls fighting that are 12 years old. It's I don't know. Technique is real easy when there's no pressure, but it gets it gets tough, man. But OSP, he's one of them dudes, like you said, he can either beat the best guy in the world or lose miserably to a bum. It does not that there's any bums in the UFC, but lose miserably to a guy, and there's just no telling which version's showing up, man.
So a guy that just showed up is Uncle Creepy, by the way, who was just on Real Sports. And it's funny because the last fighter I saw on Real Sports was Mayhem Miller, and it was not a good look for him. We had Mayhem call in from jail, by the way, before you got here.
Oh, beautiful. How's he doing?
He sounds like he's doing well. He's leading the workouts, and hopefully he'll be out before Christmas.
I hope so.
I mean, he's the only guy to get arrested for looting during a pandemic. Like the whole world gets away with looting, but he got arrested for something else. So I think he stole his girlfriend's car, but they were living together, and she reported it missing. It's always something where you're just like, huh? You know, like
yeah.
It's never just like full on bank robbery. It's always some strange story that you're just like, it just like it's naked in a church with a fire extinguisher, or it's like,
or he beats up my ex-wife, or I should say gets in a fixed fight with my ex-wife. And they're all, that was never a good one.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, Creepy, now that we're off to a positive start, how are you doing, man? By the way, so I watched Real Sports, and you were on it, and man, like they were talking about taking ayahuasca, taking mushrooms, and you were swearing by it. And what's his name came on there? Why am I forgetting his name? Dean Lister, who was like taking alcohol for, I don't know, 3 months straight, taking all kinds of painkillers, and he was depressed in a really, really rough state. You brought him to your sermon, and now he thought he died. He watched himself die, and now he's been sober and clean, and you seem to have fixed his problems, man. So that's awesome. And it may really open my eyes to the power of what you're talking about, man. Talk to me a little bit about this.
We lost him. He looks frozen.
All right. Ian. All right.
Oh, there he is. He's back.
All right. Now we can't hear him. This is my life right here. My fucking babysitter canceled today.
Can you see me or hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello. So,
all right. So did you hear what I said?
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me? Yeah. Dean Lister took a bunch of mushrooms with me, and we healed him. He spent 6 hours purging, which is something that I haven't seen at that level ever. And, he just he got it out of him. That was the thing. He actually got it out of him, and he has not drank or taken any sort of substances since the ceremony. Now, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens within this. I'm very lucky to be someone that somewhere like HBO Real Sports reaches out to for this because of the healing work I'm doing with fighters and veterans. But you know, it's really heavy, you know, and they didn't show the actual ceremony that we did because it wasn't fit for TV from what I was told. We had a really deep ceremony, and I think especially the adoring public, I don't know if they'll ever see it. I hope that one day we can release it or release most of it. But when you see someone exercise the demons with a group like I work with, the church that I work with, and I'm, you know, trying to become a reverend for and more or less a preacher for, you know, there's a lot of stuff that happens in there, in that little portal you create. And to also create a safe space for people like fighters or like veterans, you know, people that have killed for patriotism or whatever you want to call it, or people that climb into a cage and beat other people up in front of everybody for blood money. You know, you give and receive PTSD while you're in there. And this is something that I love. I don't love to say. I have to say is it's very hard for people like that to go into ceremony with a normal person that's in psychedelics, because these people don't understand us, and they think they do and they don't, and it's not their fault. But you know, I've learned that over the years, part of the human condition is childhood trauma. That's just part of the human experience, I should say, which is disgusting. But or trauma in general, you know, with adolescent, with whoever. Well, once that's over with, the people that choose to do these jobs have been affected the most, usually. Not always. People that choose to go kill for their country or do fighting as a job. Then you go in there and you pack on tons of PTSD and trauma in your life. And that will manifest in drug addiction and you know, abusive behaviors, sporadic behaviors, you know, suicidal ideation at least. And I think that it takes a very special set of people like the people I've set myself up with, and I've kind of surrounded myself with to specifically work with fighters.
All right. So
specifically
Sean McCorkle was taking 25 painkillers a day for your back, right?
Yep, I was. Yeah,
sounds about right. I've been there.
And the guy went to Germany to a doctor to fuse his back. He's still in a lot of pain. And it's causing him to kind of gain a little weight, to kind of not be able to move, not be able to, you know, a little depressed.
Thanks for bringing that up.
No problem. He has to let his girlfriend ride him. He can't be on top of her. So just a tip. How can you help him?
Okay, so number one would be obviously diet and whatever exercise or stretching yoga you can do. I just started working and studying like Kundalini yoga more. I've studied yoga for a very long time, but I'm really trying to get spiritual for once in my life, and just look back into the essence and the origins of martial arts and how to be a martial artist. I think this whole gladiator culture that I was a part of is bullshit, and I want to kind of stand against it and just say, look, there's a better way to do this. But with Sean, it's whatever sort of workouts you can have like that. Even DDP yoga is amazing. You can do it from bed if you're paralyzed, sort of thing. Diamond Dallas Page is an amazing person, and I suggest if you want something like that, reach out. The guy's a saint. I love him to death. Actually, I can give you his number. And from there, it goes not just a diet, but an anti-inflammatory diet. You need high dose and not Advil or anything like that. That stuff is so bad for you. It is so bad for you. And you got to stay away from unnatural things like that. So turmeric, you know, ginger, cinnamon, these things that you can put into your body that are going to help with inflammation or help with absorption, like black pepper, lots of CBD, and microdosing psychedelics, microdosing mushrooms specifically. Mushrooms is my specialty. You are going to have an anti-inflammatory effect, specifically as the psilocybin molecule goes from into your brain, into your body, and transfers into or translates into psilocin, which psilocin is a serotonin mimicking molecule. It looks just like it. It acts just like it. So it will turn on that receptor, and that will uninflame or de-inflame, however you want to put it. It'll get rid of the inflammation in your pathways. That right there is depressive inflammation. everything in your body bad is tied back to inflammation. That's how it works. Everything in one way or another. So we have to get down that response.
You know what's what's really weird is what you're saying about inflammation. I went to the doctor in Germany who's treated Kobe Bryant. I mean, everybody. Michael Jordan. He's treated everybody. And that he wrote a whole thesis, and it's called Regenikine. His whole thing is on fighting inflammation. He says pain is caused by inflammation, not the other way around. He said a lot of times people get hurt, that it gets inflamed. They don't understand it. It hurts because of the inflammation, not because, not vice versa. But that's what he wrote. He's got a book called The End of Pain. He's got a whole diet and all kinds of supplements you can take. And I've done it here and there, but man, it's hard to find some of what he wrote in there. They don't sell it in the United States. So I do want, if it's legal. I
got you there. That's the thing. I got you there. So I work with a company, or I help facilitate people getting something called exosomes, very much like Regenikine. Regenikine is an amazing thing. But you guys ever heard of CRISPR technology, where they can, Joe Rogan always talks about how crazy it is. We use the same sort of technology where you can turn a full-grown chihuahua back into a wolf. Yes, we have that technology. We just don't use it for that. That's weird and stuff that they do in China. But here, we take we take a mesenchymal stem cell out of the placenta. Okay, the best ones. All the women have all their biomarkers run. They're healthy, young, under 25-year-old women that are being paid to do this. They take out the stem cells. Okay, they enzymatically extract it through a 9-step process. Now, everyone else in the field seems to be doing a 4 to 5-step process, but the super genius that invented this is just incredible. He bathes the stem cells into a bunch of growth factors and peptides, and then you can. They're only FDA cleared to do topical cream. Now, I've heard from doctors, not from this company, obviously, because this is not. They don't do that, but people. Like yourself specifically, I would even recommend going through the driver cream that's topically done, and you will see amazing results. I've heard of doctors, even like my former father-in-law, he's reversing ALS patients with it. It's what it is. It's a nanoparticle that's able to cross the blood-brain barrier much easily, and it's full of growth factors or peptides. The outside is covered in microRNA, which is like a bunch of keys surrounding a ball, and all those keys find different cells in your body they can work with. So this thing, put it directly over the injury. I can promise you, because I've had the work done. It is the most incredible healing product in the world if you can afford it. It's about $3,000 or so. We can even have it sent out to a doctor you work with. They can do it. They can apply it. And I keep saying we. It's just my friends in the company they own. Let's just not say that. But this is an amazing company, and this is the most healing thing that you can have in your body. It's before a cell. It has no DNA in it. So like with a stem cell, for instance, if you get a stem cell injection, sure, if it's the same sort of stem cell that you use, not from your own degraded body or from someone else that's older, from a young person, then the stem cell can bond to that cell and help you fix it, like it did my shoulder years ago. But it can also give you Lyme's disease because there's DNA in it. So you just have to be careful. You have to be really careful with that sort of stuff. But that's my recommendation. Exocell bio.
So McCorkle, are you going to do any of this?
Yeah, I'm going to actually get his number if you'll give it to me after. I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him about a real close friend of mine that's an alcoholic who I've been trying for 2 years to get him to quit drinking. He's going to die. And I've heard about the psilocybin repeatedly. That's got like a 80 or 90% success rate on people stopping addictions. So I was going to call him and ask him what it costs, how it can be done, all that, because I'd pay for it for my friend to go out there. I didn't probably go with him to get it done because he's going to die if he keeps drinking. So like he's in bad shape and he's only 40.
Last time I had someone like that, I showed him Brandon Schaub's comedy routine, and he was like, come on, that was a perfect time.
And he killed himself and the pain was gone.
Yeah, then he killed himself.
So the church that I work with is called the Earth Temple. And it's run by two people, Bree and Bearhart. They are incredible reverends. These are the people that are teaching me the shamanic ways. It's called neo-shamanism. And through them, they have two different main certifications for being federally recognized as plant medicine churches. So everything is by the book. Everything is protected. And this is all spiritual. This is their church. This is our sacrament. This is my church too. And as a preacher for the church, I have to, say that this is the way to do it. Ceremony is key. Even doing them in a clinical setting I don't like it. It's not for me. But it is for some people. I mean, especially for end of life distress. That's one of the biggest studies Johns Hopkins has is on end of life distress with people taking massive doses called God doses, 20 to 30 grams, and they actually become okay with death. They learn to celebrate death, which is something that we need to start doing. Is we need to learn to celebrate things like death because, and just be okay with moving on to the next realm because I mean the things are crazy. The mushrooms can do so many things, and I can promise you that this will help your buddy. It works.
Ian, here's the one thing I kind of worry about you though, because I met your girlfriend at the Mike Tyson ranch, Tyson fight. Beautiful, like drop dead gorgeous German girl. Now,
fiance, and she's Serbian, by the way.
Fiance, right? The Serbian. Yeah. But she now you said she's also like a scientist / professor, and that you're her lab rat. Are you worried that maybe she's doing experiments on you? Like you're this little guy that she's like,
no. I mean, as a lab rat, I mean, she is fixing my brain, psycho-spiritually. She's helping me with, learning the shamanistic ways. She was, like I said, born in Serbia. Her grandmother was a shaman on their family farm. Prominent family, prominent communist family, but also would run off to the forest to do, paganism. And as a proud pagan myself, I like that. Now she is helped me in a lot of ways. She's been a scientist for 26 years, a UCLA professor, UCLA Extension, where she taught post-grad and business professionals in skincare. She was a skincare scientist and a formulator, and she was on TV selling her own products that she formulated in her lab. Like I said, being a cosmetic scientist and also looking like she does. She's 6 feet and gorgeous and just this insane genius that I've learned so much from her and how to also be a better person. I mean, we've helped each other come out with a program called Being Accountability Partners. And it's psychedelics for couples, how to fall back in love, how to be accountable for each other through addictions, things like, sex addiction, drug addiction, food addiction, whatever it is, things that people work with, and also how to take care of your lover on your partner, your beloved on a different level. We even I teach parenting, obviously not taking psychedelics with your children. That is illegal and not a good idea. Their little brains aren't meant for that quite yet, even though they do it in a lot of cultures. They do give babies that, but they're Indians. They're Native Americans. They're natives. They're natives. They're the First Nations people who do this in other countries or this country. So, but for me, it's how to become a better parent. The late great Terrence McKenna said that we're all afflicted with one thing, and that's the human condition. And the only way to fix it, or to be all on the same ground, no matter what race you are, color, where you grew up, is psychedelics. It does help fix the human condition, and it's something that I preach about every single day.
Well, listen, Ian, thank you for coming on the show. I'm learning every time I talk to you. I feel like I'm learning a lot. I'm not really sure what, but a lot. Good luck with everything, and you're the best. I will. By the way, please don't start a cult, though. I told you this at the Tyson thing. I don't want to see in 10 years, you get arrested for like having all these people get naked and doing some kind of weird sex cult and yada yada.
No. I only have sex with one person now, and I'm proud of that, and I've changed a lot. I the whole guru complex, I see it all over psychedelics, and it grosses me out. I'm trying to hold those people accountable. I mean, even me, I need to have people around me pull myself down a little bit sometimes, because I do have an ego and I do get a little crazy sometimes. But hold me accountable. I don't need a cult. I don't need to go to jail again. I don't need any of that sort of stuff, because that life is over. I'm trying to heal as many people as I can, because I know my brothers and sisters, specifically in people that go to battle, they need it, and I'm here for everybody.
Well, thank you, brother, and take care.
Thank you, guys. See ya.
Peace.
Yeah.
All right. So,
hey, can I just say real quick? The only reason I would be hesitant to have him treat me is because the last time a guy I knew that had the nickname Uncle Creepy gave me some pills, I woke up with my pants around my ankles and my butt real sore at Thanksgiving dinner. So I don't know.
This has been
That's all I can think.
It's been the strangest podcast we've had. We've had Mayhem call in from jail. We have Uncle Creepy. This is a show for the ages. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some other fights that happened. I felt bad for my man Justin James because I like that guy a lot. He won his first fight in short notice, lost his last two. He took a liver shot, and it seems like every time someone takes a liver shot, they go down, which makes me wonder why people don't aim for the liver more often. It seems like every time someone gets a liver shot, they go, it's over. Why wouldn't like that be your opening move, Sean?
I think part of it's not taught. They teach it in boxing, it seems like, more than in MMA.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. It's just probably not a lack of knowing that it would hurt. I've never been hit with one, but they say it's one of the worst things you can feel for 10 seconds, or whatever. But that's what everyone I've talked to says. But I think it's just not being taught probably as much as it should be. In boxing, when I was training with this real old school boxing coach, he used to show me inside how to try to hit him in the liver, from the right angles or whatever, because that'll drop somebody just with a small body punch. But yeah, it probably just isn't being taught very often. I don't know.
Because I'm always like, man, you see it, and then the person's always wincing in pain. It's like it's almost like that's just, and I'm like, why doesn't people go for that more often? It's probably hard to like get them right there. And then also this guy Jordan Lavitt, by the way, this guy, I've been watching this guy fight for a long time because I go to Syndicate a lot. And they call him like the monkey god. What is he?
The monkey god king or something like that.
God king. This guy is a character. He took Matt Wyman, I think had some brain damage because he got into some kind of car accident, almost like died.
Well, he probably has more now after that fight.
Oh my God. He picked him up, just slammed him the fight was over in 22 seconds, Sean. And it was kind of like, it wasn't like that Rampage Almeida slam where he goes for a try. It was like he picked him up, carried him around the ring or on the octagon, put his arm like so to even give it more force. Like he moved his hand position, like he's done this before, and just slammed the guy into
yeah.
And it was one of those things where the guy was out, and you know what? Give the guy a lot of credit, this kid Jordan, because he could have followed up. The referee was not in position, and he knew this kid's out. So I'm just gonna, that was very nice of him, actually, or that was very respectful. A lot of fighters would have kept punching until the ref stops you, which you can't fault them. But and then he does like a split, and he's very flamboyant. But the dude I think is good for the sport. Seems like a really nice guy. I don't know how good he is based on that performance or the performance before, because that's not going to work on most people that move, especially now that people have seen him do it again. But the dude's got some moves. Holy shit, this guy's got some moves and some swag, as the kids call it.
And what really irritated me after that fight was all the goddamn incel, beta male, MMA casual fans calling for slams to be completely outlawed and made illegal in the sport. I'm like, all right, first of all, it's very rare that somebody gets a KO slam. Second of all, he hit the side of his head in that slam. Third of all, Matt Wyman was holding guard the entire time. He could have prevented that slam just by releasing the guard, just stood up, So I hate this argument. It's completely pussified. They're trying to pussify the sport, dude. I don't know what you guys think about this, but let's just ban punches and kicks altogether and make this for
ban slams. You're going to have a lot more people get triangled, because it does seem like it's a good way out of the triangle.
Yeah.
And if you can't slam the person, I feel like that might be a problem. McCorkle?
I think what they should do is forget about rule changes to make things safer. Everybody needs to be wearing a mask in the cage. I think that's the first step they need to take, because we all know masks save lives, right?
I mean, you're right. I mean, you could probably, there's probably been like, how many slam finishes in the UFC? There's like what, like 10 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Knocked out. Sometimes it's the guy.
Yeah, at most.
The guy knocks himself out, like with Gray Maynard or something, So I think that you have to. I don't think you should ban slams. I didn't see that many people say it. But I understand. I wouldn't call them beta males and this and that, because somebody wants to. It seems like you're kind of lumping people in, calling them incels and beta males. Like
we all know it's true.
But I'll tell you who looked great was Louis Smolka. Louis Smolka, this is the kind of fight that I always say, how much I want to see a guy come back. I like to see people overcome adversity because Louis Smolka clearly lost the first round. He was getting beat pretty bad, came back and won the second round and won the fight quickly too. And it was pretty cool. It was actually funny because they were talking about something else and the guy was going on a long-winded rant and wasn't even talking about what was going on in the octagon at the time. So it was like he had to catch up, but I forgot who they were interviewing. But man, Louis Smolka, it's why I don't know how good that guy Chimaev is, because we haven't seen him deal with this. We haven't seen people lose the first round and come back in the second round. I remember Chael Sonnen told me with Vitor Belfort was like every fight he lost, it was like past the if you get past the first round, you can beat him. A lot of people can't seem to win a fight after they lose the first round. You beat them in the first round, the fight's over. They fall apart. We see that time and time again. So I give Smolka a lot of credit because he clearly lost the first round, came back and won the fight. So good for him. Jake Collier versus Gm Vellante. Gm Vellante is a guy that he wrestled in college. He played football in college. He was outstanding at both. He's a super talented athlete. But I think it's one of those things where he's almost too good for his own good, but he doesn't work as hard as he should because he keeps coming in out of shape. This is the second fight in a row where he was clearly tired the second and third round. I mean, he was looking at his corner like, do I have to go back out there? The announcer even said that. And you're like, come on, man. Like, this is your job. This is you're a professional fighter. And we know how good you can be. And there's kind of no reason, or I don't get it. McCorkle, what's going on?
I don't know. A guy that wasn't very smart one time said, watch Brendan Schaub's stand-up special. No. What he actually said was that 90% of fighting is half mental. So I guess that means 45. I don't know percent. But, I think, the middle part's so important. I'm just amazed that anybody can get into the second round. I always gassed a minute and a half in every fight. So I knew the word on me was if you can make it past 45 seconds, you'll win. So I can hang with anybody in the world for 30 seconds, though, or 45 seconds.
Were you running?
But, I would gas out easy, man. I don't know.
But, were you running 10 miles? Were you running?
Oh, man, when I was in the UFC, man, my cardio. Yeah, no. When I was in the UFC, training with a conditioning trainer, I was in such ridiculously good shape that, like, he had a hard time even getting my heart rate up. But when I get in a fight with all the nervousness and all the people around me and the spotlight, I would gas, like, just tighten up and gas on the way to the cage. I never got past that adrenaline dump. Plus, I didn't know about EPO back then and didn't realize that almost everybody was taking it. So, fair play to them. I was taking HGH. They had EPO.
That's the thing. Even with Nate Robinson, when I watched, his training for that fight with Jake Paul, he was running 10 miles a day. But then he threw 3 punches and he was spent. Look, I get it. Before I did the Tonight Show, they had to, blow dry my armpits because I was sweating so much. And, I'm a guy that can go into like the worst room in America and not get nervous at all. But I was like, you have time to think about it. It's mentally exhausting, and I get it. I just wish that Gm Vellante, I'm sure he takes it seriously. He obviously is a great athlete, but how much better he could be if he took it, let's say, as seriously as somebody like Colby Covington or something, Like Colby Covington, say what you want about him. The dude never seems to gas. The dude is, but look, maybe I'm wrong, and I've been wrong before. So who knows? This week, Bellator, Thursday night, Alimale McFarlane, who is 11-0. She's fighting a girl named Vasquez, who's 10-0. Should be a good fight. Obviously, they're promoting it. No one knows about it except for us. But it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited about that. Also on the card, Magomedov, who has one loss in his career, which is to Peter Yan, or is it Petra Yan?
Either or is acceptable.
He's fighting a guy named Mateus Matos or something, who also is 15-1, who has one loss, which is to Petra Yan. So two guys are fighting each other who only lost, so should be a good fight. I'm excited. And then Cody Law, who's a stud fighter, and so is a guy Gotti Yamauchi. Before we get into the UFC card, so Logan Paul is fighting Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition fight. I don't know. I mean, it's going to make money. Logan Paul's 197 pounds, 200 pounds. Mayweather fights at 147. This fight shouldn't be close. Logan Paul's 0-1, lost to another YouTube guy who's known for YouTube, not a pro fighter. Mayweather is 50-0, 51-0. That's his record. I don't know why. I mean, good for Floyd. He's gonna make millions of dollars. But what are we doing? I mean, what is the point of this? Like, why? Like, why?
And the only advantage Logan Paul has is he's 200 pounds heavier than Floyd Mayweather. That's the only advantage he has. And that might even be a disadvantage because he might be a lot slower. You know, who knows? This is a shit show. But
people are actually saying that Logan might win because Mayweather's 44 years old and Logan is 24, 25. But I don't see this being competitive. I mean, Sean, talk to me.
I think Floyd will do just like he did against Conor. I think he'll make it go long enough to look like it's not, not that he can end it anytime he wants. I will be shocked if Logan can hit him. Like I said, I've sparred with good middleweight, super middleweight boxers before, just even light heavyweight. Professional boxers couldn't touch him. No matter what I did, their distance was perfect. And you're talking about guys that are local pros, let alone the best to ever do it. So he won't, if he doesn't want to get hit, he won't get hit.
But why not have him fight like Shaq on this card and Oprah? Just have him fight like 10 celebrities. I mean, right. If we're going to have YouTube stars, let's have the guy drinking grape cranberry juice against Jordan Paul or fucking the Catchment Recycle versus LeBron James. I mean, what are we doing? Why is this happening? But I'm still going to watch this. Of course I'm going to watch this.
I wonder if it's going to do more pay-per-view buys than Floyd versus Conor because Logan Paul, say what you will, he has a massive fan base.
Come on.
But they're all like 4-year-old kids. That's the downfall.
There's no fucking way. First of all, people were convinced McGregor, like a lot of people were convinced McGregor was going to win. Like people that, like Robin Black, I mean, people that are actually experts in the field of combat sports were convinced that McGregor was going to win. Nobody, except for like a 12-year-old kid, I don't even think Logan Paul thinks he's going to win. I mean,
no, not a chance.
Nobody thinks. I mean, I don't understand. Maybe I don't get it. I mean, maybe you should. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Like when I was a kid in college, they used to have the Bong Olympics, where everyone would take bong hits and do sports. Like they should at least have something like that, where he has to, blow some coke and he get a blowjob while fighting, or at least make it interesting. Because in a straight fight, there's no point of this happening. It doesn't make any sense. But fuck it, right?
They should just make him get real drunk before he fights him, like blackout drunk before he fights Logan Paul, and see what happens.
Yeah, right. Like, have him go out with BJ Penn partying or something. By the way, and Henry Cejudo is calling out Jake Paul. Right. Excited about. I mean, that I think would still not be competitive, but at least if they box, Henry Cejudo, who actually has boxed before, I think Henry fucks up Jake Paul in boxing, even though he's giving up 50 or 60 or 70 pounds. Henry still wins this fight in boxing. I mean, hands down. Even though, I mean, right? Do you think, Sean, in boxing?
Yeah, I would be shocked if not, and I'm not even sure he couldn't beat him in wrestling either. No matter how big Logan is, man. That when you're a gold medalist Olympian, you can wrestle. What does he walk around at? I don't even know what he walks around at.
Probably like 160. In wrestling, he would destroy him. It wouldn't even be close. I mean, in wrestling, he would tech fall him in a minute, or he would pin him in 30 seconds. But in boxing, where Jake Paul boxes every day and Henry doesn't, Henry still beats him just from all the sparring he's done for.
Yeah.
But all right, so UFC, Division Figueroa is taking on Brandon Moreno. I think these guys fought last week. Did they even leave the hotel?
Nope.
Is it me, or did these guys fight 2 weeks ago?
They did.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is just Mexicans just work harder.
Well, one of them is Mexican, the other is Brazilian.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Same thing, basically.
Yeah, of course, according to Colby. And then also,
well, we've already learned today that Adam thinks all Europeans look like are white. He can't tell them the difference between a Russian and somebody from Serbia. You mentioned earlier something about the guy was black. I don't know why you brought that up. But and then now we're talking about what Brazilians and Mexicans being the same. So
Right. I have a question. So, like, obviously, I would never say the N-word. It's not my thing. I don't do it. But sometimes sometimes a black person will tweet out a really funny joke and use the N-word in it. Usually it ends with an A. And I want to retweet it because the joke is funny. But I don't want to get in trouble for retweeting a joke that has the N-word. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, is that the same as singing a song that has the N-word? Because people get offended if you say the N-word in a song. Am I allowed to retweet something or no? I don't, because I just don't want to, like, all of a sudden get blamed for saying it or retweeting it. But is there what do you think, Joe? I
have seen no problem in it at all. I think everybody should be able to say the N-word if you're black.
That's all right. That's the wrong take. But if you're retweeting a black person saying the N-word, is that okay if you're white?
If it's like a joke, I guess it depends on the context. I don't know.
All right. So also on this card, so Tony Ferguson. So like 3 fighters got canceled so far, and there are 3 cards, and none of them has been Tony Ferguson. Hallelujah, 2020. That might be craving out 2020. Tony Ferguson is fighting Oliveira this week. I can't wait for this fight. I'm so excited about this fight. I like Tony Ferguson. Oliveira presents a huge challenge. Both have great jiu-jitsu. I would give Oliveira the advantage on the ground a little bit, but Tony's got some great stuff. Tony, I would give advantage on the feet as well as his wrestling, but both unpredictable. Fun fight. Who wins this fight? Ween Dog.
I'm in the camp that thinks this fight is going to get canceled last minute. I actually think both fights, both the main event and the co-main event, are going to get canceled because the Tony Ferguson fight, I feel like all of his fights are too good to be true. So there's always that element, like, is he going to trip over a goddamn wire or a face mask on the ground and then break his entire lower half of his body? I think if there's any fight that's going to get canceled on this card, it's going to be this fight, whether it's COVID or a freak injury. But I think Tony Ferguson should win this fight. If he loses this fight, it's a big fall from grace for Tony Ferguson because he was right there at the top of the division and he was so close to being the actual champion. If you lose to Charles Oliveira, who's like ranked 4th or something, I don't know what he's ranked in the lightweight division, but who knows where he goes from here? And he's old too, so there's that. But he's also just so goddamn good.
Lockdown that I just got a text on my phone saying you can't leave the house. I feel like that was for Tony Ferguson. get hurt. Sean, who wins this fight?
I think Tony wins fairly convincingly, and I do find it interesting when someone tests positive for COVID, they just like won't let him fight because I'm sitting there thinking, listen, we can't let you guys get mildly sick before you go in there and try to knock each other's teeth out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like.
If somebody gets COVID.
I don't get it. If 2 people got COVID, let them fight.
Like they should be forced to give their opponent COVID, and that way they both have COVID. Right. They can fight each other. Right. That would be
right. Perfect.
Like, don't you think that they should make them make out or something? You know.
All for our entertainment.
And then also on this card, Kevin Holland, who is everyone's super hype on, is fighting Jacare. Jacare has not been around for a while, but he's always dangerous. We'll see how good Kevin Holland keep it on the feet. He wins this fight. If he goes to the ground, obviously Jacare wins. I'm pulling Jacare for the upset on this one. I don't know why. I have no idea why. I just feel like a lot of these guys, these contender guys, these guys, they come up, but then all of a sudden they face a Jacare who's been to the mountain. And I mean, Mayhem fought Jacare. He kicked him in the head. This guy's been around forever. But I think he pulls it off. Ween Dog.
I really love Kevin Holland. I think he's had an amazing year so far. He's gone like 3-0, 4-0. And I look at Jacare and I just think, oh God, I don't know. Maybe he should call it quits pretty soon because he's won 1 out of his last 4 fights. He's lost his last 2 fights, even though there were decisions. I'm going to lean towards the Kevin Holland camp just because he just seems like he's more hungry for that gold, for that recognition, you know, and he could easily be the fighter of the year in the MMA awards. So I have to go with Kevin Holland in this fight.
Sean?
Yeah, I would say the same thing, man. He appears to be on the upswing, on a winning streak, and I think a lot of times, like you said, you're betting on Jacare. Sometimes, like even anytime BJ Penn fought, I always bet on him just because I love BJ so much, So I would like let my emotions affect my decisions. But I don't think the Jacare we see now is anywhere near like the one 10 years ago, man. He was something else back in those days. But yeah, he's got to be 40, 41 now. Isn't he? He's pretty old.
He's 41.
Getting up there. Also, Mackenzie Dern's on this card. Love Mackenzie Dern. She's fighting a girl who's like 14-1 with like 13 submissions. So I'm actually pretty curious to see how this, because like I said, Mackenzie Dern has got to be the best female grappler in MMA, but grappling on the mat isn't necessarily always translate to grappling in mixed martial arts. We've seen brown belts and black belts. We've seen great grapplers not be able to sort of like make the transition. So I'm curious about this one because it should be a good fight. And this is a girl that just beat Felice Herrig in one round. Like took her down, like arm triangle, like beat her quickly. She has a loss to Carla Esparza, but Carla Esparza is like one of these girls. I think people are like, I think they expecting her to wrestle, and she's got some decent pop, Carla. And I think that she surprises people, and they underestimate her power. I know she hurt Claudia Gadella pretty bad. So I'm excited about this one, actually.
It's a great fight.
And then this Friday night, the bare knuckle boxing card. I'm actually looking forward to this. First of all, Dakota Cochran, who I know I'm not going to make any the obvious jokes. Makes 4,000 of those jokes, and he asked me not to, and he's a really good guy. So I like him a lot. He's on this card. He's undefeated in bare knuckle boxing. This guy, and he also has wins in bare knuckle boxing over Chris Lieben and Johnny Hendricks. He knocked out Johnny Hendricks in bare knuckle boxing. So this kid, I think he actually found his niche. So good for Dakota. So he's on this card. And then also Tyler Goodjohn, who is a male porn star / fighter. And when I say male porn star, I don't mean he's been in like one or two. I mean, he has like hundreds of videos of him just banging chicks on Instagram and Facebook. I mean, going deep. I've seen his dick way too many times just on my feed. I'm not even looking. It just shows up on my feed, like him just blasting chicks. So he's fighting Crazy Horse Bennett. So this fight in bare knuckle boxing, who now goes by the name Felony. So it's Felony versus a male porn star / fighter, Tyler Goodjohn from England. Also on this card, people, Sheena Starr, who we've had on this card. Remember, she's the girl that was living in the, I think she might be in a trailer.
Yeah.
She's like 4 and like 30 or something in MMA. She's the one that was wearing the shirt saying Hillary Clinton is a cunt for one of her fights. But she's awesome. She happens to be awesome. She was like fixing a tire when we were there. She's fighting Jenny Savage, the macho woman. Remember she had her on the podcast and she got into a fight with what's his name, with that girl whose husband is a what's up? You know what I'm talking about? Gambino.
Yeah,
her and Ashley Gambino had a press conference. They were going at it. So these two are fighting. So yeah, there's a lot of characters on this card, people. In bare knuckle boxing this Friday night. I'm excited for this. Jenny Savage, who's hot, by the way, also. Look her up. Macho woman against Sheena Starr, the Hillary Clinton is a cunt fighter. So this should be this. I know you guys are all very excited about this. So
I am. I'm gonna watch it.
I'm gonna watch it. And my wife my nanny canceled because for 2 days in a row she's sick, so I gotta watch the kid. But we have 3 podcasts this week. Tomorrow we have Kira Batara, who is an amazing fighter in Combate. She was in Ryzen, and her OnlyFans is, I don't have it because I'm married, but from what I hear, she's made $100,000 on OnlyFans, and there's a lot of I don't know, sexual, body positive, hot stuff that if I was a single man who had $10 a month, I would definitely subscribe if you want to. She puts it out there.
Yeah.
So she's on tomorrow, as well as Alonzo Manifield, who is the college football player that went to 15 different group homes that ended up, now he's in the MMA. He's a badass. He lost to OSP his last fight, but he's on the come up. And then Thursday, we're coming back with Don Fry, McCorkle, and Shang and Weendog. So we got a whole It's good. I think we also have Phil Davis on Thursday. So we got a packed weekend this week. So thank you guys so much. Ween Dog, anything you want to promote?
Yeah, I'm in the process of getting my UFC media press pass credentials because I'm trying to turn MMA Roasted into like a MMA, media outlet. So I'm trying to get my press credentials. My odds of actually getting the credentials through the natural application process for the UFC, the odds for me are not that good. So maybe you can work your magic with the UFC, with Dana White. Give me some press credentials so I can go interview these fighters, along the sides of MMA Fighting and MMA Junkie. So we'll talk about that later. And also I have a new clothing collection out right now, the Ween Dog for President clothing line. It's on a website called teespring.com. I will post a link to my clothing line on my Twitter at The Joe Perez Show and my Instagrams. And that's pretty much it for me.
Okay. McCorkle, anything?
Yeah, I'm going to be probably spend the most of the next couple of weeks hunting meth heads on my property. So I want to stay sharp for that.
Thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. So Joe, take care and bye-bye.